Moving forward, we have a question from 2022. The question reads as, with reference to the Indian laws about wildlife protection, consider the following statements. Wild animals are the sole property of the government. When a wild animal is declared protected, such animal is entitled for equal protection, whether it is found in protected areas or outside. Apprehension of a protected wild animal becoming danger to human life is sufficient ground for its capture or killing. Okay. So this is a question when in 2022 it was a little bit controversial, but fortunately for us now the UPSC key is out there, so we have clarity on what the answer is. But here what is primarily put into understanding is who or what is the situation of a animal that is declared under your Wildlife Protection Act. First of all, any wild animal in India, irrespective of its location, gets protected under your Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, it need not be only the animal which is there in the national park or the animal which is there in the tiger reserve will get protected. There's nothing like that. If it's a wild animal and if its name is mentioned in the schedules of the Wildlife Protection Act, then it will get the protection commensurate to whichever schedule it is mentioned in. Understand? So your second statement which says this, when a wild animal is declared protected, such animal is entitled for equal protection, whether it is found in protected areas or outside, that statement is correct. Okay, so second statement is correct. Will that help us a bit? Yeah, it will help us a bit because it will help us eliminate 3. Second statement is there only in A and B. Now, what was third statement? The third statement was apprehension of a protected wild animal becoming a danger to human life is sufficient ground for us capture or killing. Apprehension just means it's a very informal term to say that, okay, you are having a fear or you feel concerned that that animal in the future could maybe come and capture or, kill you or something. There has not been any actual attack. There has not been any real threat as of now, but this is a perceived threat. Understand? You are thinking maybe this could happen. The problem over here is if everyone, it depends, it's a very subjective thing. If everyone started thinking that they are scared of certain animals, then that would be such a loose ground to, to have the conservation of the animal. So no, apprehension alone cannot be a sufficient cause for going and capturing or killing an animal. Along with that, leave the apprehension part, there should be an actual threat. There should be instances of some kind of man-animal conflict. Then only you can move forward to whatever is the next step. So third statement by default is a wrong one. Now coming to the first statement, and this exactly was the contentious thing also. Okay, so the first statement is exactly where the point of contention was there. This first statement reads as, wild animals are the sole property of the government. Now, the point where it gets a little bit confusing is because in India, you do have wild animals which are in large areas. Now, when it is found in a protected area of the state government or of the central government, whichever government, if it's found in a protected area, it is the property of the whichever government. Okay, for example, if there is a protected area owned by the national government and in that area there is a wild animal, that animal is under the sole, or it is the sole property of that national government. If it's an area that is there in Kerala, in certain state areas that is there, it will be the property of the Kerala government. Now, you do realize there are a lot of wild animals maybe outside this protected area bandwidth. There can be areas where certain areas are not declared as protected areas by the state government or the national government. So, what happens? Those are not included or those are not considered as property of the government. It's a very technical thing. Now, UPSC clearly has gone on that technical thing. Why? Because the declared answer in the key for this question is 2 only. first statement is not considered correct when it comes to this particular question. So I hope this is clear. Moving forward, we have a 2022 question which reads as, it's very simple, which one of the following has been constituted under the Environment Protection Act of 1986? If you've been watching these sessions, you don't have to think twice on this. The answer to this question is Central Groundwater Authority. They've tried confusing you with very similar names. In fact, the first three statements all have central in them, water in them, etc. The answer is Central Groundwater Authority. Okay. Moving on, we have a question from 2020. The question reads as, if a particular plant species is placed under Schedule 6 of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, what is the implication? Now, this is related to a previous, as I told you, it's only very recently in 2022 that the Act got amended and we have 4 schedules. Prior to 2022, this is a 2020 question, okay. We had 6 schedules, okay. In those, what would happen is the first schedule and certain parts of the second schedule were given for the highest protection. After that, you had your third schedule and fourth schedule being given for lesser protection. Your fifth schedule was for a category of animals called as vermin. And your sixth schedule was for endemic plants of India, wherein if I want to cultivate it, I will need a special permission. I cannot just go and cultivate it. So, it's not all plants of India. It's endemic plants of India, plants that are only found in our country and for which if you want to cultivate it, you will need a special permission. So, now the question reads, if a particular plant species is placed under Schedule 6, what is the implication? A license is required to cultivate that plant. Such a plant cannot be cultivated under any circumstances. It's a genetically modified crop plant. Such a plant is invasive and harmful to the ecosystem. From the explanation I have given you, one thing becomes clear that it's not any of these, because I have not used these terms when it comes to this. It's primarily a natural plant. It's not a genetically modified plant. It's not invasive and harmful to the ecosystem. And when it comes to A and B, I have already specified, it's only those plants for which you need a license. So, the answer to this question is A.